So this is Tom Morgan here interviewing Leonard Van Lierop from the Dutch national team on behalf of Filippi and Junior Rowing News. Leonard, thank you so much for joining me. I think the purpose of today is to discuss your performance at the European Championships and also talk a little bit about what you are going to get up to for the rest of the season. So let's start with the obvious question. You were European champion in the single scull. How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels incredible. I didn't expect it all to win beforehand, so to eventually win, I was very surprised, and everyone was very happy for me and very happy in general. So was an incredible day.
And talk me through how your season has gone, both before the Europeans leading into that and then heading towards the World Championship, because we're talking on the eve of the Lucerne World Cup. So talk to me about how the season is progressing for you.
Yeah, so before the Europeans, I was in the group to go for the selection for the quad. But when we were racing, I got pretty ill. That was going to happen in Piediluco International Regatta. I got very ill, so I didn't make the selection. And then I was going to row the single. We were also going on altitude camp to Austria before that. So I had like 6-7 weeks of good preparation from that point onwards. And then I did the Europeans in the single, well, which I obviously won. A very special moment. And afterwards, the coaches have decided that I would enter, or I would be put in the quad. So with the quad, I'm going to row Lucerne in the World Championships.
And at the Europeans, you beat some pretty big household names. Ollie Zeidler for one. You beat the current Olympic champion. Going into that event, I imagine you saw the starting roster and thought, I'd be pleased to get an A final placing, maybe, given that you've been unwell. How did that final pan out? At what point did you think, okay, I could win this?
Yeah, so before the Europeans, I had really good preparation, and we had good reasons to believe I might, sneak into a medal, but a bronze. If everything goes really good, a silver. We weren't really thinking about winning. But so I had to get myself working through the tournament. Like, it was a long time ago. I did real racing in the single, or we do national trials and stuff, but that's not like 2K regatta. So it took some time to really get up to speed and to get everything right. And then in the final, the pressure was off because I made the final, and like, okay, from now on, everything more than sixth is just like every place is just better than getting sixth, and even getting sixth wouldn't be a shame. So I didn't have any pressure, and then we made a good plan to emphasize the start and the first part of the race. Just have a look how far you can get. That plan, what really happened is like, okay, you go out hard, and then my heart was pretty sustainable and was the right speed. The sideline Tuscos were also rowing, so I think from the 1,000 onwards, I was like, whoa, I'm now really in the race for the title. And with 100 meters to go, that was the moment I knew, okay, if I wouldn't lose now, then I feel like I lost, and I would have a little tear, but it was just enough.
The Dutch team had a pretty good European Championships and have incredible strength across the board. I've actually, just as I say, been writing the World Cup 3 previews for Lucerne. And I feel like in every single event, I'm mentioning the Dutch, Netherlands, strong here, strong there, strong everywhere. How does that team culture and that system enable you to perform at your best? Because I'm sure having lots of capable athletes around you just pushes you on to better yourself all the time.
Yeah, so after the Tokyo Olympics, we had a bit of system overhaul, and now the men and women are doing the same program, all under the program of which is kind of following the program of the men, mostly the men's sculling team from before, which was really successful. So there's a very positive vibe, and we trust the program. Like, we really know, like, okay, if we do what the program says, then we will be in top shape when we need to be. Just like last year, everyone was winning medals at World Championships, and now again, everyone winning medals at the Europeans. It's really like also if you're in a crew which is unsure of winning a medal, or maybe like everyone is winning medals, so you really want to be also winning medals, and it kind of seems normal, which is not really the right thing, but like, yeah, that's I think both the trust in the program and doing it all together really helps to get a positive culture now.
And so heading into Paris, is there optimism in the camp? Are you feeling good? I know it's a long way away. We still haven't got past this year's World Championships, but there must be enthusiasm amongst you and your peers.
Yeah, I think you're saying it the right way. Like, obviously, we have all the reasons to be optimistic, but we still need to do this World Champs, and it's probably going to be much harder than last year's. But yeah, just like you said, all the reason to be optimistic for Paris.
And you've switched around both classes a lot, and I don't know if this is typical in the Netherlands, but you were in the 8 last year that won a silver medal at the World Championships, then the single scull, now the quad. How do you find transitioning between sweep and sculling? Because the old adage goes that a good sculler makes for a good sweep athlete, but the opposite is not necessarily true. So how do you find switching up the boat classes and 1 or to 2 back to 1?
Yeah, before I went in the 8, I was also even rowing the pair with Nicky van Sprang. Even before that, I was mostly more like a sculler. So of course, I did some sweep rowing at my club, and I did a lightweight 8 way back. But so that wasn't. So that's not really the problem. I think mostly the biggest problems, or the biggest like things arise when you switch a boat is you have a new team and a new culture, like a new group dynamic, and that's the more interesting part about a new project, more so than switching from sweeping to sculling. Or
you find the single scull a tricky boat to row in the sense of its loneliness. I mean, a lot of athletes thrive on having others around them, and they're motivated by their crewmates and their team. The single scull, you simply don't have that. And I suppose depending on how you work mentally, it might have been a complex one for you to master. How did you find that?
Yeah, I don't think the missing of teammates in the boat itself is really a problem for me. I've done a lot of single sculling before also. But just as I said before, like, we do the whole training with the team together. So of course I do the miles in the single, I do them by myself, but the cycling and the ergs and the weights, I do them with all the other people, and we do the same training, so you can talk about it, like everyone knows what's happening. So in that way, I don't really feel lonely.
Talk to me about Filippi then. So they're obviously a strong partner for the Netherlands sort of rowing federation. You won the European Championships in their boat, and I'm sure you'll be racing in a quad in Lucerne in a Filippi. Talk to me about their boats, how you enjoy them, you know, how they fare for you.
Yeah, I think they make very good boats. We with the Dutch team are receiving a lot of boats. Like, also we do trials in the singles, and almost everyone is a single from Filippi now. So we were receiving like a trailer a month full of new boats from Filippi, which is pretty cool. Unpacking new boats every 3 weeks or something like that. I'm really happy rowing their boats. The single is really good, obviously very fast. So that's very nice.
And if something were to go wrong, I assume that Filippi's support, their service, the way that they look after you is good and robust.
Yeah, they send, well, just like this, they're sending new boats. They're also sending new parts every time we break something. Some people had a little too much fun on training camp, so we broke some boats sadly, but Filippi is always there to help. And also on the regattas, they help with like the new stuff and seats and riggers and all the small bits and things. And also the aids now trying they wanted to try something else, so now they're rowing in the New Zealand aid, which was used in Tokyo. So that's pretty, I think that's they're very helpful for us with boats and stuff like that.
Just before we came on air, you asked me if I was a Henley, and then I sort of talked about the fact that I was there. But the race I'd love to get your opinion on is the final of the Queen Mother, which of course is for open weight male quad sculls, the Polish against the British, and the British beating the Polish on the line. Basically, the Polish led them all the way down the course, and then the Brits ran them down in the final few meters. Did you watch the race?
Yeah, I did watch the race. I enjoyed rowing, so I watched almost all the finals yesterday.
And what was your view on that race particularly?
Yeah, it was a very good race. I think it's going to be interesting to see if the Polish, if it was maybe some home advantage or for the Brits, or if the Brits got much better over the last couple of weeks, or the Polish maybe slowed a bit down, but we'll see that next week probably. And for the British team, it's very good to get a big win on the Polish. I think it will help their morale.
Oh God, sorry, carry on.
It will help boost their morale for sure.
What's your personal ambition in the sport? Because you've now become a European champion and you were a world silver medalist last year. I know the obvious response will be to win an Olympic gold medal, because that's what you guys are doing it for, and that's probably what you want the most. But what else motivates you to stay in rowing beyond the allure of the Paris Olympics?
Yeah, I really like the training, and also like the process of working towards getting better, getting faster. I think that culture in rowing is that's really there. I can't really talk about other sports, but in rowing, that's very much emphasized to work towards getting better, and with the team, with the coach and the physiologist and everyone around us. I think that's one of the best parts of rowing, to be fair. Yeah, I think that's part of what I really like about rowing, and also being outside, of course, and in a boat is really nice. I like doing training, so that's also a must, of course. But yeah.